A New Jersey man converts his SUV into home to avoid paying rent and saved $16,000. So the cost of rent can drive anyone crazy, but one man decided to ditch the crazy and went full in on the drive. Arslan Shono, a medical technologist from New Jersey, was fed up with paying $1,800 in monthly rent that he made a drastic change by transforming his SUV into his home and equipped with a bed and a small kitchen space. I hate paying rent, so I ended up converting my car into a house, and this is me getting ready to go to sleep, Shono said in one of his TikTok videos. Now, what I find interesting is the type of vehicle that he actually decided to do, right? For me, if I were to do something like this, I probably would have gone more so with like a Sprinter van or some sort of large van, maybe a truck with a really high like modified like back end topper thing that you basically use like as like a full ass home or something, but he basically used like an Escalade, I believe. I think. Is it? I don't know. So Shona, known as at Solar Camper Car across social media, says his SUV is pretty comfortable and revealed he saved $16,200 in his first 9 months since ditching his previous living arrangement. The TikToker revealed that he only lives in his car 9 months out of the year and spends the other 3 months living with friends and family. Interesting. I mean, there's definitely a good enough space inside for him, but I don't know. Like to me, I feel like this would make more sense if you traveled a lot for your job, to where there's not really much point to like have a place or like buy like a tiny home with some land as like your main base, and then have your car with the home adaptions, house adaptions. But like, I don't know. Shona showed his followers how he crafted his Chevy Suburban SUV. Okay, so it's a Chevy Suburban into his new home on wheels in a YouTube video. The crafty man removed all the seats in the back of his SUV, aside from the single rear passenger seat he uses as a desk, laid wood paneling down, and built a frame for his bed to give to feel at home. Shona also installed 3 solar panels on the roof rack of his car, hence his at Solar Camper Car username, while placing the battery inside the frame of his bed. Interesting. Now, what is cool about, I guess, this SUV is that no one would really ever expect looking at this SUV that is basically this dude's house. I think that's a pretty cool aspect. So it took Shona 3 weeks to completely transform his SUV into his home. Crafting a small kitchen space, Shona completed the transformation in the once average SUV now looked as spacious as some Manhattan studio apartments. Okay. For basic daily activities like cooking, Shona sets up his meals on a hot plate installed on his makeshift kitchen counter. When it's time for a bathroom break, the SUV living social media star installed a removable cassette toilet that can be easily emptied out. Hmm. See, this is the thing, right? I think it's all fine and dandy and whatnot, having this kind of build up, but to have basically like your toilet, like literally right there in your car, just seems like so unnecessary. Like you could literally have like a gym membership for like some of the like nationwide chains, for example, like Planet Fitness, and they're 24/7, and you could literally just go there basically at any time. There's rest stops, there's grocery stores, like there's fast food places, there's gas stations. I don't really understand the purpose of having even like a toilet inside this car. So to stay warm in the cold, Shono has an electric heated blanket, which he cherishes on fridged winter months. Frigid winter months. If it gets too cold, he turns on the SUV till it heats up to his liking. And across his platforms, many commenters praise Shono for his ingenuity and break from the normality of living many in America are familiar with. With the cost of living well played, one commented praising Shono. So creative, great build. I love this setup, and the kitchen and bed storage are fantastic. It looks so nice. One user comments on the YouTube video of him transforming the SUV. This is so fantastic. I would love to do something similar one day. Another wrote, but not everyone is on board with Shono's lifestyle. Is he beating capitalism or is capitalism beating him? One user sarcastically asked. There's smarter ways to get ahead. Share an apartment. One user wrote to which Shono replied that he values his privacy. I hate paying rent, but I'd hate living in a car more. Another wrote. And again, like, the way that I see it, I don't think there's necessarily anything bad about doing this. It's just that, are you trying to make this your like forever situation where you're forever living in a car? Because the thing is, there's people that have RVs, they travel around, they live in their RVs, etc. Right? But an RV is at the very least more like a home, right? It is more durable than just some of these cars. That being said, both aren't really good financial decisions because both vehicles go super down in value as time goes on, as more miles get put on them. So it's like, yeah, he might be saving money in terms of like rent, but the amount of damage that he's doing to his car over time is still going to be pretty hefty, right? Not to mention, like, here's the thing. I would understand this situation doing something like this if you were to save up some money and buy yourself like a home, like a very tiny home, some land, just so that you have like a home base to go back to whenever you want to go back to it. But something that you can basically buy in cash for very, very cheap, right? At the very least, maybe buy some land, put like a super cheap trailer on it, just so that you have some sort of like stability where like, okay, I really want to stretch out and like go to sleep and lay down. Oh, I really want to be able to just like call this one whole piece of land my land, right? Even though like technically a trailer is not a good idea either because that goes down in value. But I'm just saying like I like the idea of doing this more so in either the context of you basically saving up to like buy something of your own in cash where you basically have pretty much no expenses and you could get back to it at any time, or if your career or job that pays you good amount of money, or even your business that pays you a good amount of money, basically requires you to travel all over the place. So for example, let's say that you are like a travel nurse. Doing something like this would make perfect sense because you're making disgusting amounts of money being a travel nurse to all these different towns, cities, etc. But it doesn't really make sense to have to keep on renting from an Airbnb, doing like apartments, etc. Like it's just a hassle. So doing something like this would make more sense in that situation. Or if you're someone who like does welding, and there's like I believe there's something where like some welders will like go to their job site for like 6 or 7 months out of the year and then leave, and it might be in a completely different state. Something like using this for that makes perfect sense. But like just to do this just so that you don't pay rent, and that's the only reason, seems like it's not really worth it. Let's see. I did this for 5 months a few years ago, right before buying my first house. I had a 2012 GMC Sierra that had put a high top shell on the back, built a bed inside. For 5 months after I moved out of my apartment to save extra money, I would work second shift at my job. I'd go to a trucker friendly rest areas and filling stations. This was down south. I'd sleep in the back of the truck. In the morning, I'd go to Planet Fitness, work out and shower. Then I'd eat. I'd go to the public library to get internet access and do whatever online for a bit. then go get lunch before work, and so on and so forth for 5 months. Saved all that rent and utility money. Did use a bit more gas at the time, but this was during the Trump era, right before COVID, so gas was cheap. I actually enjoyed it. It was like a 5 month camping trip. Like, see, this type of situation makes perfect sense to me because they're basically using this time to save some money and probably for like saving up for like a down payment for their house, right? Hmm. I lived in my boat for most of a year in a marina while working on it. As soon as I put the deck down, I moved in. Took a shower with a garden hose. There were toilet facilities for 250 a month. I had an oceanfront home. Yeah, I've heard that living on your boat in some marinas are like extremely cheap, right? The only problem is if you're in an area where there's like typically a lot of hurricanes, that might be a pretty big hassle. The cons is you're living in a freaking car. If he was doing this for a year to pay off debt, I'd approve. If he intended this to be a long term solution, he's going too far. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, doing this for like a long term situation doesn't seem like a wise idea for me because you're putting things so much on the back burner and you're providing yourself with so much instability for a very long time. Not to mention like safety, right? Now, luckily, this dude is a dude, but if this was a chick doing this, you're putting yourself up to a lot of risk by doing something like this. Being homeless is not a life goal for me. Yeah, see, this is the thing, right? I think it really all depends on the situation. It's just that to me, based off what I'm saying, it's not really worth it in his situation to do something like this. 1800 is cheap from Jersey. So converting a van that would make more sense didn't occur to him. I couldn't do it, I tell you that. My body hurts getting out of a regular sized bed. I can't crouch down like that. Good to be young. Wouldn't he want to dump the toilet after every go, whether it's a number one or two? Nothing beats the sound of his splatter hitting the hot plate, though. I'd do anything to save money, but I wouldn't do that. Yeah, see, like, if I was him, I wouldn't even have that toilet in there to begin with. A third hand camper is cheaper with more space. So he has a base priced $54,000 SUV and complains about rent prices. If he really saved over 16K in 9 months, that equates to $1,777 in rent and utilities. For a single male, you could buy a small home for that monthly payment and drive a $22,000 vehicle instead of a 54,000 vehicle. And this one says, don't forget monthly payments on the vehicle and paying full insurance. Full car insurance would be about 3K a year. Yeah, see, like, this is the thing. Like, I don't really understand why he decided to use his SUV for this. Like, he could have definitely sold his SUV for something with a lot more space to begin with. Like, I don't think people really understand. Like, I think even like some of the Ford Sprinter vans, whatever. I don't know what the exact name for it, but some of the Ford vans, like I think base model or a pre-owned one, you could maybe get like mid 20s or low 20s for pre-owned. There's so much space in those vans, right? Like a crazy amount of space, right? So for like a single individual, maybe even with a dog or two dogs, maybe even three if you're a dog person or a cat, I don't know what you're into, you could probably fit all of that, you, the dogs, the pets, whatever, a bed, even a little closet, a kitchen, with a lot of space to like stretch around. Like for him, like he has to like crouch down doing basically anything. Whereas with like one of those Sprinter van things, you could walk around in it. He should have bought a motorhome, much roomier, and everything is already there. The loser van life is called being homeless. What do you think being homeless is original? LOL. All the people living under bridges and on the streets in New York and San Francisco and LA are also saving a lot of money. Are you people even serious? Like, so for example, right, the reason why I'm not too against something like this is because not too long ago I saw a video of a finance person actually doing this because they like to travel basically all over the place, right? And so instead of paying rent, they basically ask, I guess, their brother or their family members, like, hey, can I store some my extra stuff, my computer, or whatever, at your place in one of your rooms? I just want to go travel for like a year or whatever, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? Not to mention the dude had a lot of money to where he could easily just buy a home whenever he wanted to. But he converted like a truck into basically his little travel home thing. Like doing something like that for a short amount of time because of a specific reason, like, oh, I want to go traveling, I want to be on the road and travel, there's nothing wrong with that. But my feeling is this guy converted his SUV into this really makeshift home while still basically being in like a specific location working his job, which to me, there's almost no point to it, right? Because you could have just sold your SUV, got a super cheap vehicle, or actually, yeah, you should could have gotten a super cheap vehicle, used that excess money to buy very, very cheap land, and then just stick a trailer on there, like a really, really cheap trailer. And you would have basically gotten this exact same result without putting all these miles, gas, etc. with this car that is overpriced, that is going to lose value. I mean, it just to me doesn't really make much sense. Like, Love Shack on wheels. I drove a big rig for a while, not a good way to live. Where does he shower? Is there a sink for washing? Where do you park that's private? You can live in a car, but you can't drive a house. Tried and true ramblings of game bangers in their 70K dollar cars while living in squalor. Brilliant financial advice, not. It's easier for him to move out of New York City and save more than 16K and actually build equity in a property and improve his credit score. Indeed, that vehicle is losing value every day. Yeah, like I mean, like I really just don't understand the vehicle choice, right? Like I'm pretty certain this is not a cheap vehicle. Wait, so what's the year on this vehicle? Did it say? I thought it said what type of Chevy Suburban thing that he got. Did I miss something? I guess I must have missed. Yeah, I guess maybe it just doesn't even say anything about what year of. Okay. Showed his followers had crafted Chevy Suburban SUV into his new home on wheels in the YouTube video. Maybe this says it. I slept in my car 1 mile from New York City. 6 feet tall, living inside a two-door car. Wait, now he's living in a Camaro? Wait, what the hell? So he does an SUV. Couldn't been. So what? He bought another car and is now doing a Camaro one? Weird. Okay, maybe this guy's just trying to be like a YouTuber or something. Hold on. My name is Arson, and I've been living in cars and solo traveling for the past 2 years. Want to see how I do it. Okay, so if this is something where he just likes to travel as well, okay, then it makes sense to me. If that's like your main goal is to travel around, it's just wow. Oh wow, 2.2 million views in his for his Camaro camper. That's crazy. But yeah, see, to me, I think it'd be super fun to do like a massive road trip in like a muscle car slash like supercar or something. But I'd want to probably go into like Airbnbs or something. Like I wouldn't want to really sleep inside the vehicle. Wow, that's interesting. I wouldn't do this to save money. Definitely not. But to each their own.